Hi, my name is Mario Franco, and this webcast will be about distance learning. Distance learning or distance education is the education of students who may not always be physically present at the school. And in today's reality, this will be empowered by technology. Not always distance learning or distance education use technology. We have a long history of distance education, distance learning, but today this has a different context related to technology. This webcast will take care of this and how we can develop what is the frameworks to develop education, distance learning. We will start by analyzing frameworks related to the distance learning implementation. The first one we chose was the UNESCO 10 recommendations to plan distance learning solutions. We will produce a series of webcasts where we analyze each of the 10 recommendations. This will be the first, but another webcasts will be produced, and in detail we will see each of the recommendations and how to use these recommendations to implement policies and programs related to distance learning or distance education. The second recommendation of the UNESCO framework, 10 recommendations to plan distance learning solutions, is to ensure inclusion of distance learning programs. As we know, implementing distance learning, remote learning, when the students and teachers are at home, there are basic questions to be solved. First, the infrastructure. The students have to have a device, a computer device, a tablet, a computer, some kind of device where they can follow the lessons or looking to the videos, the programs. Then is essential. Then you have a reasonable experience, and the device can be able to provide the student or the teacher that. Then on the hardware, is important to assure this will be available at home. The second is the software. Sometimes people have software, but they don't have the software required, and they don't know how to use or how to install the software or to configure the software. Then it's necessary to help the people to have a device with the right software or install the software when they prepare for distance learning. The other key point, connectivity. Low connectivity, sometimes no connectivity at all, is a big obstacle to implement a good program, a program which works on distance learning. And a fourth aspect, basic aspect, will be the costs. The costs of the hardware, the costs of the software, the costs of connectivity. Some families cannot afford to have this, then it should be free for them. And some can afford, but they cannot pay what the market is offering right now. Then any entity, any government which is planning for this have to take this into consideration. We will look a little bit better, a little bit deeper in this recommendation, and we will try to provide some information on these aspects. in this webcast or in the follow-up webcasts of related to this recommendation and to other recommendations. Implement measures who can solve the infrastructure question: hardware, software, connectivity, costs. You also include some specifics, special with families who have kids with disabilities, or very low-income families with small places, to provide a reasonable space for learning. Then, if you implement that, there will be good for everybody, but special is important to consider, to include everybody. You cannot have, nobody can implement a program only for a few. Then we raise a huge question of inclusion, of equity, and then we create a more asymmetric society where the differences between groups, income levels, or other considerations, other divisions in the society will appear as a big difference for the future. And we know this is not only a question to solve the problems of access to school. This is also an opportunity to prepare the students and teachers for the digital transformation. Then we cannot let groups of students and teachers out of this process, especially now where all the society, or huge numbers, huge percentage of the society is in the process of digital transformation in education and learning. In this recommendation, two initiatives are specifically mentioned, and one will be providing hardware solution, hardware software, of course, solution, and the other one is connectivity. Then it's important to mobilize all sectors to provide this possibility. Telecom operators, they have to jump in, they have to be mobilized. This will be a good opportunity for them too, because they will enlarge their market base in the future. They will help the digital transformation because the companies will be able to invest in digital services if they know all households have connectivity and devices, computer devices. Then we need to mobilize all sectors of the society, including companies, institutions who can provide, even the schools. Sometimes schools have computer at the school. Then the government and the authorities should consider the possibility to transfer part of these computers at the school with no use today to the households, to the home, to the families. It's very important to assure that, and not only to be used in the coming 2 weeks, but at least until the end of the school year and in the future. And from now, preparing new programs, new initiatives to provide this infrastructure, to enable every family to use computer and internet connection. Especially, this will be important for education, but it can have an impact in all sectors. In the business sector, because then the market know the households have this capacity to connect, but also for public services, because once the computer and internet is at home, people can access to public service too, and this will decrease the costs of the government, the costs of the state. Then this should be seen not only as a moment or an investment for a few months, but a long-term investment if we want a great return of investment from these programs which are required now to solve the education and learning process from the fact that many students are not able to come to the school. This webcast is part of the Sustainable ATU Policy Framework Accelerator Workshop. And these webcasts, or this group of webcasts related to distance learning and education, can be used as a single model, or you can choose to go to all the workshop, and because some of the other webcasts in other sections will be related to the implementation or have subjects related to this webcast. Then this webcast is not alone, but you can go and see more and more information in the other parts of this workshop. The workshop itself is part of the Sustainable ATU Policy Framework Architecture, which is a framework of frameworks to train and planning and implement ICT education projects in a sustainable way. Then please feel free to go to the website and to look at the different parts, different sections where I deliver a lot of videos and also documents and links to implement this kind of projects. Thank you.